Hello. Guess where I am today? Yes, I'm back here with baby again, house sitting. I brought a new box for her. I really did. And I think she said it was too far away. She needs kisses and attention, so that's what we're going to give her. She's such a sweet kitty. I can't say no to anything she wants. Today's video is about Christian manifestation and how we're doing it wrong. uh, Manifesting is a fairly new concept in Christianity. It's something that is part of evangelicalism. And I've heard, so many times when I was a Protestant sitting in sermons, it was all about money, money, money. There wasn't really a whole lot that I was ever taught as a Protestant evangelical about the Lord and his majesty and like just the wonderful things that we learn in Orthodoxy. Orthodoxy does focus a little heavily on suffering, which can be kind of a bummer. I mean, I get it. This world is full of suffering. You're not really taught how to deal with suffering as a Protestant because everything that I experienced as a Protestant told me that if I'm suffering, I'm not being a good Christian. There's something wrong. What do I have hiding? All that sort of thing, because the fallacy of evangelicalism is that if you are doing everything right, you'll have the best children, you'll live in the best house, you'll have the best marriage, you'll have the best bank account, you'll drive the best car, etc., etc. And it was basically just this huge motivational speech every Sunday, and it was just exhausting and hollow and whatever. So we see in the Bible where when the people ask the Lord for something, he might ask you to do something kind of off the wall, but he doesn't ask you to step in for him. And by this, I mean, even within the Christian healing community, you'll hear, pray and ask God for healing and go to your doctor, or pray and ask God for a job, or pray and ask God for money and go get a job, or pray and ask God for a job and go look through the want ads. We used to have want ads. We don't have that now, but look at Indeed or Open Door or whatever. So I'm starting to sniff now because I'm very allergic to baby and she wants cuddles. So anyway, I'm gonna have to leave soon. So I've even heard some people say that not Christians. They're unfortunately, there's some people out there that are really disrespectful towards Christianity. They've been wounded, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, are you going to go pray to your sky daddy? Does your sky daddy answer your prayers?" Yeah, God is my Father. He loves me. He is merciful. He is king of. He made everything. He controls everything. And I've learned, and it's been hard because even though I'm sitting here telling you about it as, don't be the person that's, trusting in God and then leaning on your own understanding, because scripture says, trust in the Lord and lean not on your own understanding. And I'm not saying that you can't have a job. I'm just saying that if you are in a position where you can't go out and get a job like I am, I stay at home and I take care of my husband. And people are like, oh, you need a side hustle, you need a job, you need to leave and go work and contribute and blah, blah, blah. That's the world's message. That's not God's message. So we have an example, and I'll set a link to this scripture down in comments. Miss Kitty definitely liked the other box that I had last time better. So there was a wife of a prophet who was basically getting ready to lose her house and be foreclosed upon. And I'm not sure if it was Elijah or Elisha. She said, "Help me. This is what's going on. I'm going to have to sell my children into slavery." It was horrible. Did the prophet of God say, "Well, then get off your butt and go get a job"? He did not. He said, "I want you to go to your neighbor's house, all your neighbors, plural, neighbors' houses, and ask for empty jars. And don't assume that you have enough. Just get as many as you can." So basically, the message was, do not put a limit on God. Okay. And so she went around to her neighbors, asked for empty jars, and then he said, go into a room with the jars and close the door and pray. Well, what happened is an angel of the Lord came down and filled the jars with olive oil. She was able to sell the jars and make her payments on her house and save her children from slavery. So the Lord provisioned for her. She had to do something that was kind of weird. She had to go ask her neighbors for jars, and then don't touch the camera. And then she probably sold some of that oil right back to her neighbors that she asked the jars for, that, she went to and asked for jars. And that's how God takes care of you. When people came to Jesus and asked for healing, he didn't say, "Oh, I'll heal you, but then you have to go and do follow up with your doctor." No. And he did say, "Go and present yourself to the temple priest," because the temple priest was supposed to inspect people, and because they had like rituals and stuff where you couldn't be maimed or injured or whatever in order to do certain things, and had to be verified with the priest that you were healed and able to do and participate in whatever. So there's also the provision where the prophet Elijah goes to the widow. Now the Lord had told the widow, "Hey, I'm going to send someone to you. He's going to take care of you. Let him stay in your house, and you'll have all that you need." And so she was getting ready to. Here's my take on it. In the scripture, she says that she went to the gate to gather wood for a fire because, she only had a little bit of flour and oil, and she was going to make some kind of a flatbread for her and her son. They were going to eat it. It was going to be the last meal, and they were going to lay down and die. So she goes out to the city gate and she's gathering firewood, and here comes Elijah. Now, my take on it is that she knew exactly what she was doing. She was kind of like, I don't know if I heard from the Lord, but I'm just going to be out at the gate just in case. What? What? Yes. And so she went out to the gate, and sure enough, here comes Elijah. And the whole time that Elijah was with her, the oil and the flour never ran out. Now, she didn't have more than enough. She had enough. Okay. And there's other examples in the Bible. The whole time the Israelites were in the desert, the Lord was taking care of them. And I've learned a lot about this from my husband. My husband has this faith that astonishes me. And it just makes me love him all the more. I've learned so much from him. He has so much wisdom. Yes, he does. And so she has a little bell on here to warn the animals that she's coming, the mighty huntress is coming, and yet she still manages to catch things. She has a bucket list. She wants to catch a squirrel, and I don't think it's happened yet, but that's her life goal. Anyway, my husband has always just had this childlike faith that the Lord will take care of him, and he's never lacked for anything. Now, when I say he's never lacked for anything, the basics, extravagant things, no, we're not Solomon. And he said, I've always had enough. And honestly, sometimes it comes at the last blessed second. The Lord shows up at the 12th hour or 11th hour, whatever, and here's some money. And one time, so this movie was coming out, and my husband had a 3-letter website, one of the few that are still out there, and it was his initials. And the people called and they wanted to purchase it, and they really lowballed him. And he knew what he needed, and he prayed, and we got enough money to pay off some medical debt and some other debt that had incurred, and to live off of it for a year. Then his grandmother passed away. We got a little bit more money. We've always had enough to sustain us. And, I grew up in the household that was, trust in God, but tie up your camel kind of household. Um, I know, you're so sweet. I love you. Yes, I love you so much. All right, I'm going to get that ear. It's dirty, by the way. I just thought I'd let you know. It needs cleaning. Um, and it was, the message from my mom was always like, God heals us through doctors, not even. Oh, you don't need to see her bottom. Sorry. Oh, you're going to go back in your box? Okay. Now she's going in her box. Do you like that box, or is it not okay? Baby. Oh, she's like, oh, whatever. Okay, so she's just going to sit there. Hold on. So basically, you're going to be looking at the back of baby while I finish this video. So it's one of those things where it's something that I struggle with, and I think a lot of people struggle with it, is just trusting in the Lord and leaning not on our own understanding. When my husband was in a diabetic coma and then he came home a week later, he woke up on a Friday the 13th in 2013. And no, not 2013. I'm sorry, 2010. And his family, a lot of them are atheist and liberal, and they were like, why are you not getting a job? I said, well, he needs 24-hour care. He just got out of the hospital after being in a coma. He was in ICU for 3 days. Okay. And I'm not going to go work at a convenience store, or gas station, or Walmart or something for $10 an hour. This was 20 years ago, or 15 years ago. And wonder if I come home, is he still going to be alive, or is he going to be unalived because no one was there to save him and he needed medical attention? So you're going to look really strange to your friends and family when you're walking that line with God, where you're leaning not on the world's understanding. And the world is saying, get a job, contribute, don't stay at home. Like those, if you're traditional life, those, don't stay at home and take care of your children, teach them, don't homeschool, don't do all this stuff. Let the world take care of your children, and we see how well that's going. Not. And stay the course. If the Lord has told you that this is what he wants you to do, he will provide for you. If you're supposed to be a stay-at-home mom, he will provide for you. Now, you're not going to, most likely you're not going to have Kardashian money. That's okay. That can be more than a little bit corrupting when you have that kind of money. And honestly, people who are able to make lots of money don't really understand that their ability to make money is to help the people around them and not buying, diamond underwear. So, it's there are some people out there who are able to make scads and scads of money, and God bless them. But there's a lot of stress that's involved in that. And really, Christianity started out, we were an agrarian society across the board. And it's supposed to be like a simple living, But, the governments around the world, not just ours, they looked at that and they said, we need more taxes to pay for it, while lining their pockets and doing whatever. So here comes feminism to get women into the workforce. And, there is an army song back in the day that was, "You're in the army now, you're not behind the plow. You'll never get rich by digging a ditch. You're in the army now." So that refers to being a farmer and living an agrarian lifestyle. Agricultural agrarian is an agricultural lifestyle where you're, planting and, sowing and reaping and doing all the things. And now you just hear about sowing and reaping in church for a prosperity message. But can you imagine living where, you plant your field and you're waiting 5 months for it to finish growing so that you can harvest it, and all that time in the summer, you have things to do around the house, chickens, maybe cows, goats, pigs, whatever, but you're not fighting traffic for a 9 to 5 job and all the heartache and heartburn that goes with it. But if you want some Bible verses about God supplying all our needs, there's Philippians 4:11-12, and then Philippians 4:19. There's 2 Corinthians 9:8, Psalm 37:18-19, and Psalm 37:25-26. There's plenty of Bible verses out there. I don't know why her back is turned to me. Why is your back turned to me? What? Why are you ignoring me? Are you watching the birds? Come here. Can you come here so that we can see your sweet, beautiful face? There's plenty of Bible verses out there. There's a website called openbible.info where you can do a word search. They have a section for a topical Bible, and you can type in provision, abundance, whatever, healing, and there's this thing, I know it's been around for a while, but I just discovered it on YouTube. It's called scripture writing, and you could make a whole thing where you're doing a study on healing or finances, provision, prosperity, abundance, whatever, and write out the scripture, have a daily scripture that you write out, and just keep a journal of it and pray and ask the Lord for what you need. And watch how that impacts your life. Now, I'm not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying that you're going to have barrels of gold show up in your house or anything like that. But when we start praying and asking the Lord for Him to meet our needs, miracles happen. Things get really interesting, and you don't have to sweat it so much like you did before you started seeking Him. And try not to fill in the gaps. Give the Lord control over your life and your finances. You still need to pay your bills. You still need to budget. You still need to be responsible. You still want to be responsible with your spending because you want to honor God's effort and God's gifts and not be irresponsible with your money. So that's it for today. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comment box. I read everything. Not everything makes it to the visibility on the comment section. Be respectful. And I hope you're having a wonderful summer. It's almost over. I looked at the weather for the next more than 10 days. And we're going to have, I think tomorrow what is today? Today is Friday. So over the weekend, we're going to have temperatures in the 90s, but the low 90s. Then one last desperate 90 temperature on Wednesday, and then it's going to be in the 80s, and it's going to start dropping from now to the end of August. So fall is right around the corner. Autumn is coming. All of you Halloween people and harvest people and the golds and the yellows and everything. It's so beautiful, and the oranges and the pumpkins. I'm so excited. So that's it for today. And may the Lord bless you and keep you, makes His light to shine upon you. And have a great weekend. Bye.